A man's oxygen is respect. When a man, a husband, is respected, he'll give you the world. He's comfortable being around you as a wife. He is his best self. He's complete. He's whole. He doesn't try to bypass you or do busy things. So today we're learning from Laura Doyle's book, The Surrendered Wife. Respecting the man that you married. Respecting your spouse is also a form of self-respect. So the way I respect my spouse is to that extent is the way I actually respect myself. This is an acknowledgement that I made a smart decision, a thoughtful decision to marry my spouse, and a decision that I respect. If I mistreat my husband, I'm saying that I'm basically settling for someone of lower standards. And this is a form of self disrespect. If you don't think your husband deserves respect, ask yourself what you saw in him before you married him. There's something that you admired about him, there's something that you loved about him, and that drew you close. Chances are that he's not all that different as he was then, and therefore he's still worthy of your admiration. Respecting my spouse means honoring his choices. I'm not correcting him, I'm not giving him advice, I'm not improving what he's doing. What does it mean to respect your spouse? Does that mean I'm bowing down to everything he says, whenever he says, and approving with everything that he does? No. It means that you accept his choices, big and small, not because you agree with them, but because these are his choices. You listen to him and have regard for his ideas, suggestions, family, and work. This doesn't mean you have the same choices, but it's just all that it means is that you accept his choices. A personal example of mine is my husband, um, he came out and he looked like he had a great workout, and then he took a sweet drink from the kitchen. And my initial reaction was to tell him, listen, you just worked out. Why are you having a sweet drink? Just drink water. That's what I wanted to say. But I did it after learning this. And instead, I just kept quiet. This was his choice. And this is honoring his decision. I don't want to be corrected all the time. I don't want a police behind my back telling me what I need to do, what I don't need to do. But to a husband, to a man, it means so much more than it is to a woman. Respecting your spouse means that I'm treating my husband like an intelligent adult rather than an incapable person, rather than like a child. I use the tone of a calm woman, not a frantic woman. Respecting my spouse means that I don't correct him. Let's say he took the wrong exit. What's the point of correcting him right now? He left anyway, he made the wrong turn. Saying things like, oh, if I were you, I would do this. It still sounds respectful, but it's actually not. It's saying that you're not capable. It's saying that you made a mistake. We all make mistakes, but to pinpoint to a husband that he made a mistake, it really puts him down. Respect means that no matter what your husband does, you will not try to do these three things: to teach him, to improve him, and to correct him. And I know it's hard. It's hard for me too. But if we want to breed the intimacy with our spouse, this is the only way to do it. The only way to do it is to treat him like the man that he was created to be. And you're not going to give water in a gas tank and expect the car to run. It's not going to run. So we're going to also learn, how does a husband react when he's not respected? Respect breeds intimacy. Your husband feels confident and relaxed when he's respected. He knows you are at his side. You know, a man could be the biggest CEO of a company, and everybody could be bowing down to his beck and call. However, if his wife doesn't respect him when he comes home, he feels like nothing. He feels incomplete. He feels unwhole. A husband who's respected by his wife does not second guess himself. But if a wife disrespects her husband, he feels nervous around his wife. He says things just to please her, not that it's coming out of his heart. He tells her exactly what she wants to hear, not exactly what's on his mind. He calls it a night by bypassing criticism and busies himself with the TV, the phone, reading, spending late hours at work. A husband respected by his wife lets his guard down and he's himself. He feels comfortable around her and he thinks out loud. You know, we want to sometimes say things that are on our minds. We don't exactly think exactly how we're saying things. You know, a husband may just say things that are on his mind. It's not formulated um, exactly the way it's proper to say. Maybe he's just thinking out loud. He's just saying what's on his mind. And a wife may sometimes nitpick every word that he said. Oh, you meant this. Why'd you say this? And why'd you look at me when you said that? What do you mean this? And she tries to dissect everything he's saying. He feels nervous. We don't have to um, dissect everything that he's saying and try to analyze everything. You know, when they're comfortable being themselves, they're comfortable. They can breathe. They're smiling. They're joking. They're laughing. They're thinking out loud. This is how a man acts when he's comfortable. He knows his wife has his back no matter what. You know, one thing that a wife may do that she thinks that she's actually helping him is actually the helping language of a wife is actually the controlling language for a husband. When she's helping him, giving him suggestions, trying to correct him, what she's actually doing is controlling him. She's saying, "You're not good enough to do this. I'm going to tell you how things need to get done." For example, she'll say, "I will help him do it right. I know better than he does." Maybe she's saying that in her mind, and maybe you do know better. However, in order to breed intimacy, in order to breed closeness in a relationship and trust and respect, it's just to let loose, especially toward a spouse. Let him take the reins. Let him take charge. Let him make his own decisions, and he can make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. And we don't need to say, "I told you so. If only you listened to me, we wouldn't have been late." Let's say with our previous example, he passed the exit of in the highway. You know, what I can say instead of saying, you should have, you could have, I should, we'll get there, honey. Don't worry, we'll get there when we're meant to get there. You know, and that's it. Complimenting a spouse, or "You're doing a great job driving," is actually to sound like an insult to a man. Like, what do you mean? I don't need a compliment like that. So some compliments can seem actually insulting. Um, like the littlest thing you can do in the house as a woman, a compliment that seems like it's almost "Oh, good job, you washed the dishes." It seems a little bit insulting. Like, I know I'm supposed to wash the dishes. Why are you saying that? It's because I don't wash the dishes. So little things can be insulting, but when we don't say certain things that seem disrespectful to our spouse, it's better not to say anything. Okay. So it's the mother complex. When I'm trying to correct my spouse, if you feel as though you're the only adult in the family, think about this. Your spouse goes to work and he's an intelligent man. And you know what? His boss relies on him to produce, to problem solve, to communicate, and to manage in his job. Why is it that when he comes home, he needs to be corrected? He needs to be told what to do. He can function beautifully and produce beautifully at work. He can do so at home also. The only way he doesn't do that is if I disrespect my spouse, and is if I believe that he can't. Because if we are treating our husbands like little boys instead of capable men, that's exactly what they believe in themselves. If a wife corrects, criticizes, or orders her husband around, she automatically becomes like his mother in that moment, which means that our husband does not see you as an affectionate partner. And that's what we want. We want to be that loving, beautiful, affectionate wife, that feminine voice in the family. We want that. So what do men do when they feel disrespected? They withdraw. They either watch TV, they're on their phones, they spend more time at the gym, later hours at work, they're busy. You know what? It feels so good. It may feel so good just to tell your husband exactly how I feel, exactly just to correct him. But you know what? That feeling is not worth the price of losing the intimacy and disrespect. So it can't hurt to remind yourself that you are married to an intelligent and capable man. I don't want to isolate myself from him and create my own bubble of loneliness when I'm disrespectful to my spouse. So let's say, we're not perfect. It happens. Although we try to be so respectful to our spouse, it happens. We're disrespectful at times. So one suggestion Laura Doyle gives is what Winston Churchill said. He said, eating worms has never given me indigestion. So let's say your spouse said something you didn't like so much, but it's not the biggest deal. But you decided just to say something back, something not so respectful, or giving him a look. A look is also a form of disrespect. No one is perfect. So it is important to actually come to your spouse and apologize. So, honey, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I didn't mean to reply in this way. I'm sorry. I was overwhelmed. I was tired. I was stressed. Whatever it is, you tell him. And it's important to a man that you apologize because he just feels that you got to bring him back up again. I have a friend who's a therapist, and one of the things that she said in one of her classes is you have to, if you disrespect your spouse, you just like stepped on him. He's like on the floor. You have to bring him back up. You have to bump him up. So if I pretend like I didn't do anything and I decide to go on in my relationship, he's not giving it his all. He's just following along, putting one foot in front of the other, and it's not really breeding intimacy in the relationship. And by intimacy, I mean closeness, connection, trust, and respect. So a critical aspect of respecting your spouse is catching yourself when you slip up and letting him know that you regret it. You really try to mean it, but if you don't mean it 100%, you're tired, whatever, you don't want to think, just say it anyway. It's just going to bump up your marriage, a little higher from that that feeling of tension between you. He feels disrespected. He won't be himself, and you want him to give himself, his whole self to you. So three things we do not want to do to our spouse in order to disrespect him is to teach him, to improve him, or to correct him. May we merit to be respectful in our relationships, to breed ultimate intimacy of respect, connection, love, commitment. Leah Abramov, Being a Becoming.